Welcome to the semifinals of Skirmish during the first season of Silver Age here in Jyväskylä. This game is between Arakni, Solitary Confinement, and Dash. Arakni Solitary Confinement is an assassin whose ability reads: your first attack each turn gets attack with stealth. Each turn gets go again. And Dash, as we saw in an earlier video, gets to start with a mechanologist item with cost 2 or less, which we can assume to be a hyperdriver that will provide some resources as Dash boosts with her attacks. Solitary Confinement is wielding two different daggers. There's the Spider's Bite that has the on-hit effect of reducing the blocking power of attack action cards on the subsequent attacks on that turn. Mark of the Huntsman, when it hits, can be destroyed to mark the defending hero. Combined with the Danger Digits arms equipment, that means that as an attack reaction, Danger Digits can, so-called, as they say, flick the dagger and then mark the defending hero, effectively giving access to marking as a reaction, which can be quite useful when there are some attacks that have an effect that requires the defending hero to be marked, or indeed attack reactions that require the defending hero to be marked. The headpiece on Arakni's side can also mark the defending hero as an attack reaction, so there's effectively two different sources of that available. Blossom of Spring makes a resource, and the Unflinching Foothold there is a Battle-Worn 1 equipment that can, as an instant, destroy itself to remove Dominate from an attack. Arakni Solitaire Confinement starting at 19 life here. So Arakni here is going to be playing stealth attacks that have, in some cases, effects when they hit. Some have effects that happen when they attack, and some have static abilities such as dominate or not being defendable by defense reactions. And the deck also can be using attack reactions to sneak in damage and add additional on-hit effects. A tricky deck to defend against. Dash is a very aggressive deck with boost attacks that come in for good amounts of damage, and using boost they will be able to get go again, so that there could be a number of attacks taking place on the same turn. Arakni has access to very not so much defensive armor here. So only 2 blocks available. But Arakni's cards, I expect in every case, can defend for 3. So it's capable of defending when needed. Dash here has the equipment we saw earlier in this tournament: Blade Beckoner and Embryo Base Chest, which blocks for 2 as long as there is a hyperdriver. Talishar is wielded by Dash here, so only 3 weapon attacks available this game. I expect Dash to try and play very aggressively and end the game, rather than try to drag it out, since Talishar is not very well suited for that purpose. Hyperdriver is in the arena from the start here. Conventionally, Dash will choose to use Plasma Barrel Shot when starting and Talishar when going second, since you might not have the extra time to spend 2 resources filling the Plasma Barrel Shot and setting up Arsenal to make the Plasma Barrel Shot fully effective. First turn here seems like Arakni is just setting up an Arsenal. So now Dash can go ahead. We see there is recharge here that can put a counter on the Hyperdriver and buffs the next attack by 4. The next boost attack, that is. So the Hyperdriver goes up to 4 counters. And we see a throttle here. Crankshaft is banished from boosting, giving a counter to the Hyperdriver. Hyperdriver removes a counter and gives a resource. So we have a 6 go again coming in here. 10. Sorry, I apologize. The recharge did apply a buff there. A most potent attack. 1 resource floating could be enough to pay for another attack. I think we see a zipper hit in the hand there, which costs 1. Arakni considering a defensive line here. 10 damage is a lot. Indeed, we see 3 different... There's 2 attacks and some reaction used to block. So 1 damage coming through, and the remaining card is pitched to attack with the sword. That looks like a blue zipper hit, maybe? So not the most enticing attack to attack with. Well, yes, the 2 floating tells us that that was a blue zipper hit. Arakni gives up their last card. Mark of the Black Widow. And takes 1 damage. Which seems to indicate that Arakni is inclined to play this one quite defensively. Mark of the Black Widow is a powerful attack here. I could have potentially banished a card from Dash's hand, but was employed on defense. Arakni passes the turn back. Asking the question, how many times can you do this before you run out of cards? Dash is counting up the resources and trying to figure out if there's a perfect way to deploy all of these cards. Perhaps considering setting up an arsenal for next turn. Should Arakni keep up the defensive gameplay, setting up an arsenal and trying to go very big at a later turn might be necessary. Teklo Trebuchet 3000 comes in for 1. And Hyperdrive makes a resource. Teklo Trebuchet also buffs the next boost attack by +2. Probably not something you want to be blocking actively, so the damage there goes through, 1 damage. Next up we have a zipper hit, paid for by the resource from Hyperdrive. Also chooses to boost. Red 3060 goes away. So here's 5 go again. Arakni looking to be defending here for 6. Sorry, it was 7 because of the technical tradition. So 1 damage goes through. And Jumpstart comes in lastly for 5 with no boost. Arakni still looking to be quite defensive here. Goes for 3. Taking 2 damage. There's 2 cards available on that side of the table. Perhaps we will see some... so we see a stealth attack for 3 that gives the next stealth attack go again. So 3, go again. Is Dash going to give something up here? Any cards that don't fulfill their purpose? No blocks declared, 3 damage goes through. And we see another attack for 3. If 2 or more reactions are activated on that chain link, it would get +2. And there are reactions available on the equipment. Seems like Arakni has been seeing quite a lot of attack action cards. And since they on their own usually just attack for 3, it seems like Arakni chose to defend with most of them. Considering that defending and prolonging the game is going to be in their favor. Dash wants to keep cards and decides to put down all of their equipment here. Blocking for 5, respecting those reactions that would be available on the equipment. Double Trouble that we just saw attacking there does have the on-hit effect if those 2 reactions are activated of banishing the top 2 cards of the Dash's deck. So not having that effect hit does mean that there are more cards available in the deck. Sorry for not bringing that up earlier. I think we see a yellow. Yeah, I think that is a yellow. 4, go again. 3 resources available from a blue pitched card. Defense reaction blocking for... sorry, attack reaction blocking for 3. 1 damage goes through. One cost 4, go again. On hit opt. Is this going to be the moment where some equipment comes in to cover the on hit effect? It appears to be the case. And we see an attack reaction joining that equipment to cover the attack. And then we see Talishar being sent to the combat chain. With an abundant resource turn, employing the weapon here was the choice for Dash, holding 1 card left for the arsenal. Arakni can choose to give up a card here, but is probably considering the value of keeping that second card for on their own turn, perhaps for some kind of attack reaction, or for simply attacking with 2 attacks every turn. If there are some relevant on-hit effects, that could be preferred choice here. So no blocks declared. So, with the Arsenal on Dash's side, we see Art of Desire Body, which threatens to banish the top card of Dash's deck, and if that is a red card, Arakni will draw a card and gain a life, which is definitely a scary one. Probably making Dash block here. Blocking for 3 with a throttle, and here we saw the second of that attack reaction, which is called something. The card is banished, but it is not a red one. A lucky break for Dash there. Got a bit punished for only blocking 3, but still managed to avoid that one-hit effect. Perhaps we can assume that there weren't enough resources to pay for that throttle on that turn. Outpace comes in for go again. 2 resources available after Hyperdriver activates. One damage goes through the block. 2 cards remaining for Dash. I think we see 2 1-cost cards. Zipper hit. Stick. 5 go again. Chooses to employ an equipment here. Takes 1 damage. Another 4 go again. Sorry, not go again. This is not boosted. It's the last attack of the turn. And we see an attack reaction. Blocking for 3. 1 damage comes through. Dash is able to present a lot of these 4 and 5 go again attacks, chipping through damage even though there are a lot of blocks. So here we see an attack for 3. Bonds of Attraction. When it hits, a hero banish the top card of their deck, then banish a card from their graveyard. And whenever this banishes a card, if this has banished another card with the same color, gain a life. Given that there's probably a number of cards in Dash's graveyard, this might be gaining a life for Arakni. If it hits, Dash chooses to defend it. So no life gain for you, Mr. Assassin. 3 cards remaining for Dash here. We see a 0 to 60 and a there's also a jump start there that is that only gets its discount if you control a hyperdriver. A less powerful card once the hyperdriver departs from the arena. It was a blue version, so well, that one is pitched for a 4 go again attack. 1 damage going through. 0 to 60. Boosting a Big Bertha just after the hyperdriver departed, unfortunately. So this is 4 go again, and we have the resources left for attacking with the sword. The final attack of that sword for this game. Arakni, of course, needing to defend. Looks to be defending with 1 card here. Arakni seems to be in an uncomfortable position with only 4 life. They will take 1 damage from the 0 to 60. And with 2 cards remaining, they will probably have to give up 1 of them and with 1 card after this. So you see the sword. Looking at blocking with both of them here. Interestingly, not wanting to take any damage. Committing to the full block plan here. Even there was a mark of the Black Widow which could have forced blocking from Dash's side of the table. There was some counting of the deck there, in the wrong way around. Which prompts a shuffle. I'm not sure how many cards remain in Arakni's deck, but it's presumably more than on Dash's side of the table, since there has been quite a few cards sent to the banished zone this game via boosting. Conventionally, when you're faced with an aggro deck that attacks all the time and you just block everything, you will be sending cards to the grave, and they will be occasionally, for example, pitching to a weapon or some such. But in the case of Dash, the boost does make it so that Dash actually expends more cards than the defending hero, even if the defending hero blocks with everything. Typically. Arakni perhaps wishing that they brought some more defensive equipment for a matchup like this. Big Bertha comes in, boosting for a is that a yellow one? 5, go again? It was a blue, yes, so 4 go again. I think 1 damage goes through, and here I think we see a yellow zipper hit, so that would be 4 go again. Another one of those annoying attacks that sneaks through a tiny amount of damage if you don't give it its due respect. Pitching a yellow zipper hit there. This breakpoint gets a damage through. Arakni is down to 1 life. With 2 cards in hand, we will see some double trouble here. 3 go again, but if 2 or more reactions are activated, it will get +2, and on hit, it gets the effect of on hit, banish the top 2 cards of Dash's deck. 8 cards left in deck for Dash. Barely 2 more turns of attacks here, but of course only 1 damage needs to get through. If Dash is able to send 2 attacks for 4, and then 1 more attack for anything during a turn, that would be enough to get through. We see... I'm not sure if we see any 0-cost attacks there. Recharge is a buff here. Effectively can be used to create a breakpoint. Dash could choose to just not block this. There is virtually 0 chance of dying to this attack, but of course the 2 cards would be banished. As opposed to if they block with cards, they can avoid the banishing effect. And the question becomes, are the cards in your hand worth more to you than the cards in the top of your deck? Dash looking for some attack reactions here. We have seen a handful of reactions go, but no... I'm not sure if we have seen Stains of the Red Back utilize this game so far. There is Stains of the Red Back, so yeah, the headpiece was used to mark Dash, which makes Stains of the Red Back free. So it gets +3 from Stains of the Red Back, getting it up to 8. 2 cards are banished. So Dash decided, I want to keep my cards in hand, thank you. Question for Dash now is if this turn should be used to set up an arsenal, or if this is the moment we have to commit to pushing through the last damage, or at the very least stripping enough cards from Arakni's hand that the next turn will be able to do it. We see a zipper hit of some kind. And a jump start of some kind, which costs 2 resources since there's no hyperdriver in play. Counting through the cards, if we boost this turn, how many cards are left? Will we get a full hand on our next turn? I think if Dash boosts a couple of times this turn, on the next hand a boost will no longer be available. But if a small amount of boost is used, 1 boost might be available. Well aware here that it's all about cards in deck for Dash at this point. And here we see a 4 go again. boosting with 2 leftover resources. That forces, of course, 2 cards from Arakni's hand. And then we see a jump start for 5. No boost, taking out the remaining cards. So Dash decided to boost once here and still ended up with a leftover card. To be 5 cards. Dash Arsenal's the last card, which I think was the recharge, if I'm not mistaken. There we see there's 2 cards left in the deck, and there's a 0 to 60 and a Teklo Trebuchet, meaning this turn could go 3 wide, the next one here. Arakni, of course, passing back with no cards on their turn. What will Dash be pitching, I wonder? Teklo can't make out which cards are blue there. Teklo Trebuchet is a blue card, of course, but is a very potent card to it. Alright, there's a blue crankshaft pitched for the recharge. So the first boost attack here will be a breakpoint. Teklo Trebuchet gets the pump there, itself only having 1, so this is 5, go again, and then giving +2 to the next boost, with now the choice is between 0 to 60, yellow, +2, 5 go again, stealing the 2 cards, and the yes, Zipper hit gets the job done. It all came together, using the very last card for boosting. The late game requires some discipline for Dash. There we saw the power of recharge, which is a card that doesn't demand a card from your deck, unlike most cards in Dash. Coming in to essentially set up the final turn to get past a full 4 cards on defense. Very close game. Well played. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.